What up, gamers? We are back with some more modern action, and this time we've got a really exciting Amulet Titan versus Blue White or Azorius Control. Now, I'm of course NanMan, bringing you guys all the modern action here over at NanMan's Nerd Corner. In addition to all of our other videos that we're starting to put out, if you've been following along, Monday we've started to divert a little bit from our normal just gameplay stuff and starting to do, some modern meta breakdowns. We've been doing some traveling to events. We had one where we, of course, talked about getting signatures at events and what that's like and the prices for that and how to kind of go about that process. And we've got one coming up this upcoming Monday about attending MagicCon as a featured creator, what that was like for us at MagicCon Atlanta, as well as, what was our swag bag like and all of the sort of fun stuff that came along with us hosting a modern event in the Creator Central area. Now, these two decks, we really wanted to highlight this one this week because we just had our modern meta breakdown video come out highlighting the Pro Tour from Edge of Eternities, specifically the top 8, where there was an Amulet Titan player in the top 8, and there was one singleton blue-white control player in the top 8, and one of our resident control players, because we're starting to see a lot more control players popping up at our shop. It's interesting to see how the meta is shifting and changing, but one of them has decided that, yep, you know what? I will follow along with what our Pro Tour participant was able to show us with the blue-white control and update the list to reflect that. So a little bit of lockout stuff, a little bit of Narset, Days Undoing shenanigans. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works in this matchup against a Titan player whose main goal is to play with their lands, bring them to their graveyard, bring them back from their graveyard, cast an Amulet Titan, and it's, a lot of land looping and bouncing and shenanigans like that. It is very reliant on getting an Amulet of Vigor out onto the battlefield, so those bounce lands, those tap lands, enter untapped, and of course we did get to see our Boreal Grazer help with our acceleration plan here. So that's kind of the name of the game as an Amulet Titan. It is no longer doing the escape shift into Valakut stuff, or no longer doing just the Dryad of Elysium Grove into Valakut, even though I like that version better than this version, and I'm an old school Amulet fan in the sense that I like the Hive Mind style. I want to go back to those days. Can we do that? Is that is that fine? Is that no, we can't do that. We gotta get stuck with this version of Titan for a while. Okay, I guess so. Teferi Time Reveler is going to be one of those. This is a normal creature, of course, that we get to see. A normal planeswalker we get to see within the blue-white control list, but this version is up to 4 copies in the main board. And then, of course, 4 copies of Narset. If you want to see the exact list of it, you can be able to, of course, check our Moxfield links for it, as well as check out our video Modern Meta Breakdown for Pro Tour Edge of Eternities there. So check all of those good things out there. But we do see an Explorer. We're going to try to accelerate things out, draw some cards, maybe looking for a bit of a payout here to help us out. But for the time being, we do get to see no acceleration going to take place here. I like the delays as much as possible. Force Negation actually surprisingly powerful in this matchup. And a Solitude going to be getting rid of the Urza construct there, the token off of the Urza Saga. So I like that. That's, of course, our threats that exist in the deck. I want to say it's a singleton stock up in the list, but I like stock up a lot. If you guys, we have our own deck that is running stock up, and that would be, of course, our, Lantern Control list that we have. There is, of course, players at our shop that are also running stock up in their, Blue Tron stuff. So if you're interested in seeing any of the modern gameplay, of course, make sure you guys are subscribing and following along, because we do have videos every Monday and Thursdays, and of course gameplay footage like this for you to be able to enjoy. Also, we've got playlists if you want to go back and see any of our previous games that we've had on the channel. You guys can be able to check it out. But we've had so many people tuning in and watching so far this year. I know it's only October at this point in time, but so many new faces have joined us this year, which is awesome to see. So much support and love for the modern format and the channel itself. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us. But we do see kind of the debates happening here. You see kind of, I like the land spread, lots of one-ofs, Echoing Depths, Beseiju, Urza. We're in this kind of debate. Do we, we making a construct again? Yeah, it looks like we are going to do some construct shenanigans. Okay. Hey, Icycron Scepter Orm's Chant. Would you like to play any cards? You will not. You may not play any cards. You can still attack for now, but next turn we'll be able to pay for the kicker and to make sure you can't cast spells. He says, hey, here's the Solitude. We'll get rid of your construct, and then from then on out, I will be able to keep that Teferi around and keep bouncing your stuff and have the lockout there. So that's the way to go about it. Like, you have a lockout plan. It is a lot more of, you force your opponent to scoop now, right? You don't necessarily have to present a win so much of like, I'm going to kill you with this creature. There are ways to do that. You've got manlands in there with our Hall of the Storm Giants, but also just like there's Solitudes. There's sometimes the subtlety main board. Most of the time there'll be some subtlety sideboard, but it is like doing a lot of shenanigans like that. So we're going to see how things go. Game 2 with sideboard action. Get some tools to help us out. Of course, if you're on the Amulet side of things, there are some, anti-counterable cards that we might want to try to be able to utilize here. But all right, we're seeing Urza Saga ticking up. Urza Saga number 2. Ooh, trying to go for the defense grid. Defense grid's great protection there. Basically going to just slow down and stop whatever our opponents are trying to do. If you're going to try to cast something on my turn, nope, that's going to cost 3 more. And immediately we're going to say, get rid of this Narset, pitch that to be able to let us cast this Force of Negation for the price of for free. And now we get a little bit more Surveil lands going. But yeah, defense grid is really good. All right, so I guess we're on plan B then of make a bunch of constructs and hope for the best until we get enough mana to cast that amulet or the Primeval Titan we have in our hand. But will there be enough time? We'll see, because I see an Icycron Scepter in hand. Now, one of the ways that this deck has been able to kind of make more slots and room for things, of course, we've gotten rid of our Wrath of Skies that has kind of moved to the sideboard. We've cut some of our copies of Counterspell as well. But there is the Urza Saga Search. Amulet of Vigor going to be popping out onto the battlefield, allowing our lands to kind of do the little speed up game here. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this. And making another construct. Fetching going to happen. All right, so 2/2 out here. Of course, we will be getting access to another Amulet of Vigor next turn. So then we get to do this like crazy, flood of mana on the following turn. So it's now on the blue-white control player to find a way to kind of react to that and deal with that and anticipate that plan and how they're going to fight that. So we'll see what the tools do they have available to them here. Nothing that good for the Icycron, it looks like right now. Like, we don't have the, really, we saw that you need 4 mana, right? The 4 mana is the sweet spot where you can cast it with Orm's Chant and play Orm's Chant on your opponent's turn. But we see, oh, okay. That's not bad. Narset will help us set up potentially for next turn. Counterspell going to be found for it, one of 2 in the list. All right, floating mana, search for another amulet. So our construct has jumped up to 3/3, allowing us that ability to kind of attempt to bully and take out the Narset. We'll see how much mana can get generated in this turn. This is the big explosive turn here. So how much can get resolved here? Do we have a surgical in hand for our blue-white control player? We saw the counterspell, but no force and negations, no... Oh, we have a Solitude, but no other blue spell. So, all right, how much mana can we generate? Let's see. Oh, Lotus Field. 6, 7 green. blow up both those. Titan. All right. 2 green left. Here we go. Let's do some searching for some lands. Hey, we're going to generate a bunch of mana in a second, so let's use our placeholders to kind of track that. I love it. I love seeing the trackers people come up with and ways to help them track their mana. I've got a buddy that plays Storm, and he's got a Storm counter as well as like a mana counter, but also like this is a instant sorcery counter for my Ral when morale flips, which could be separate from the spells that I'm casting for my Storm counter, and just lots of ways to kind of track things. Amulet Titan can get to that point as well with just what you're tracking, and seeing how much mana is being generated at a time is important, and also tracking what your opponent's doing if you're on the receiving end to, make sure that we're, they generate a lot of mana and they do so many game actions. So like being able to kind of track through and make sure that you're following along with all the stuff can be important. It is another one of those decks at this point in time that does feel, I don't know if Nadu-esque makes the most sense to some people, but like kind of I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff, and eventually I'm going to present a position where I can kill you, right? Where it's different, where if it's like, oh, I would just make copies of Titan and just swing and they have double strike, or like old ways of killing people that were a lot more like, yes, this is a very clear way that if you're not as used to, you just see your opponent like making a bunch of mana, you might be confused and wondering, okay, how am I dead here yet? But they're like, oh, I just make infinite mana essentially by looping these cards and doing these things. So we're gonna see how this works here and start to track. Gathering up, of course, our lands off of the Titan. We have a transmute for Teleria West. But wait, where's the other blue? Okay. We generated all of this mana, but we did not track it all on the board, right? So like the Teleria West came out as well as our growth chamber, so we generated a bunch of mana, right? 4 green, and essentially, 4 blue, 5 blue. We're going to have 1 blue left, essentially, after we're going to transmute and do all this stuff. Here's Escape Shift. I mean, we have 1 land that we're going to turn into something else, but it doesn't matter because we're going to get, like, another one of those, probably Systemic Growth Chambers or some sort of, like, double mana producer here. Oh, wait. There's a Lotus Field. Okay, triple mana producer here. So we can generate a bunch of mana again. And then we are going to be able to get up a way to get all these lands back from our graveyard. That's our big goal here. So that's why there's the Summoner's Pack. That's why we got the Force Negation of the Teleria West, just to make sure we were safe and able to just sort of safely combo off without our opponents interacting and fighting us, right? Having kind of that safety net there, right? It's a protection spell. All right, Aftermath Analyst coming here. Of course, this is what we're talking about, of being able to generate a bunch of mana and then get it all back. We're going to attempt to do a surgical here. My assumption is targeting the Lotus Field, because we have plenty of mana to be able to pop our Aftermath Analyst and bring back all this mana and kind of go again and go through these setups here to allow us to kind of just like keep going, right? Some of the lands we've got, of course, just generate us a bunch of mana, but like Teleria West would come back, so then we can go get like another Summoner's Pack, go get another Primeval Titan, and just keep going and just like, all right, let's set ourselves up here. So we have the Force. Right? Are we nervous about a wizard battle of like a Force Negation, or because we have Pact Negation? Like, so I don't know. I guess it's that look of seeing, all right, I still have so much mana. We'll use 4 of our 7 to do the aftermath. Have 3 left. Plus whatever 100 we generate from here. But this is, what are we saying? This is turn 4. I think our blue-white control player missed a land drop here. But yeah, we'll do the pact here. Put a stop to that. I mean, we've done so many summoner packs. We've done, like, the pact. Like, we're winning this turn. That's our plan. Oh, and we actually hit a bunch of other lands. Let's, you know, get rid of all that. Bring it all back. Boo, boo, boo. Excellent. But, oh my gosh, so much. We'll do 6 green. 6 more green. Another. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at just how much mana. That's why we have these trackers here. And then, of course, get some red. Get some blue. Do some transmuting. We'll do some bounce triggers. So, Larry West. And we'll scoop here. Okay, there we go. It's like we got to kind of go through it, and you really got to start to see the layout of what the deck was trying to do at that point and how things were really setting themselves up. So she, you know, navigated those lines, and those are those complicated lines, but the goal for Amulet, and once you get into those like messy lines, it can, you know, become a little bit more clear once you start playing the deck. But it is all about get an Amulet on the field and get a Prime Evil Titan out as quickly as possible. That's the name of the game. A plus B, go. Right? Once you do that, then you can get to the next stage. It's how you get to those is kind of a little bit of noodling around, right? Do we have to rely on an Urza Saga to get there? Do we have the Amulet in our opening hand? Like, what, you know, how does that work out? Also, Myco spawn here, it allows us to basically become a copy of an Amulet, so it really helps accelerate things out. But we see sort of the land go mode right now for our blue-white control player. But no Amulet yet, so we are seeing a nice little setup here. And no green mana either, so like that Explorer, not very useful right now. You could have done, is there a bounce land? Is that a bounce land there? The red-green one, maybe? Gruul Turf? I mean, you could have done that instead of the Amulet there and bounce the Myco spawn to set up for an Explorer next turn and do some stuff, but I don't know. The idea of getting your Amulet out as fast as possible is really kind of the name of the game here. But land goes are all about what we're seeing right now. Force of Negation. We do have the Orm's Chant as well to sort of interact with our opponent. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the Gruul Turf. But now it's like, again, we can't really do much. Yeah, we got 1 mana floating, but we can't do anything with it. And move to discard, actually, getting rid of our Dismember. Which, you know, I think it's important to have the Dismembers, but they're not as relevant, I would say. Yes, there are creatures still to worry about, but it's not as relevant as it once was, so. All right. All right, our Amulet player said, whoever does something first here might just lose, which is crazy to think about. Like, we've talked about this before, is like the control mirrors, or like where you're sitting here and it's like everyone's sort of building up resources, but it's really just sort of waiting for something to kind of happen. So we do see an Orm's Chant going to be trying to put a stop here, because this is the scary turn, right? And we see that our Amulet player is going, yeah, I am trying to get you here. So there's the Pact of Negation. There's the Force to follow it up. So if we did not have the Force, we could have just lost this turn. So we will see, okay, well, I can't cast anything. Let's make a construct here. Let's go get a search trigger to go get an Amulet and follow that up for next turn. We can play our land, of course. That's about all we can do. So, Myco Spawn here. Is that called a Myco Spawn? Myco something. What's the name of that land? Ooh, Surgical. All right, and this gives us the reveal. All right, I like the stripping of the Urza Sagas. Actually, I think that's a good way to kind of like almost stop any potential future shenanigans that could be coming. Days. All right, so we revealed the hand. We know how scary the hand is. We'd rather just shuffle it away and hope for the best. In response, we got a Veil to draw a card. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to look, and maybe we got a Force there, but even if we got a Force, we don't want to use it because we don't have access to blue mana. So it's like, okay. Well, but there's no, Narset to stifle the draws, so we'll both shuffle our things in and draw. But we don't get an Urza Saga, but maybe we'll get a Amulet of Vigor here. All right, draw 7. Oh, that's a pretty solid 7. Attempt to chant here, and it is kick, so that means no casting spells, no attacking with that construct. Pretty good. We're just going to see a land go. We have a Solitude, but no way to pitch, so it's like we're in an okay position, but I don't know. Narset, a bird set here. 3 land. Oh, I was like, is it a whiff? No, that would be a day's undoing again. And here's our land for turn. Have fun having no cards in your hand. Sorry, have 1 card in your hand. It's like, how about a Summoner's Pack? Oh, wait, it's going to get shuffled. It doesn't matter. Each player will shuffle their hand and graveyard again. We just saw it. But with Narset out, our opponent will draw 1 card. Now, our turn will still end, but we have a full grip, and they're left with 1 card in hand. So now we will see, will the Amulet player be able to make something work with the card they've got? Because they will get another card for turn, so that's 2 cards total. Ooh, Icegron Scepter coming out. Potential next turn. Another Surgical. Wrath of Skies. Well, like, I'd like to try to make a copy of this. Like, that is not the right land for making copies, but here we'll send 2 damage across to Narset. Which is good. You want to try to limit what sort of resources the control player is going to try to get. All right, we'll even fetch Shock, get that sweet-looking Hollowed Fountain there. I love the art on that one. I have no copies of that, and I would love to get them, but I also keep spending money on signed cards. And so I'm like, well, one of these days we'll get it. Ooh, okay. Wrath of Skies, X equals 1. All right, no orange chanting, but we do have. Hey, I want to make this as hard for you as possible. I would like to surgical extraction your Amulet of Vigors. No Urza Sagas, no Amulet of Vigors. We're gonna make sure that you're gonna be locked out of this game here, as we really are gonna control the flow of the game. Do you have a win con in your hand? I have a Solitude. It's like, all right, let's scoop it up here. I'm not gonna play through this miserable experience. Yes, maybe I could top deck a Titan, but it's like, what do I get from there? Especially if you have a Solitude that you're gonna get rid of it and just hard cast it here. So we get to see some of the cards that the players were able to bring in for this matchup. Dismembers, force, not force. The what the heck is that card? Defense Grid. Man, my brain is fried trying to remember the name of cards. I know it's that, like, your cards can't be countered. Protection from blue and black, essentially. You draw a card for your opponent to cast a blue spell. Veil of Summer, right? Veil of Summer? Veil of Autumn? Autumn Veil? Something in those realms. I don't know. But Surgicals were able to come in. So, yeah, we see a lot of the, like, okay, we'll take out a lot of these 2-drops, some Bajuka Bog. Subtlety came in to go with the Surgicals. I like that. Yeah, but that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed all this great modern action. We are going to be showing you guys more gameplay action every Monday and Thursday, as well as some of our other, behind the scenes stuff and kind of talking head videos. We're going to start adding more to the channel, but that's going to do it for us here tonight, today, this evening, this morning, wherever you're watching. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next game.